What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Animators React. That's right, the rarest of the React shows. What? I was not expecting the bloody end. What? We have the pro here, Alex Snow, on the couch with us, and you've got a whole list of inspiring things to talk about here.
Like you're saying, this is CG. How are they achieving that stylistic look in CG?
The acting is very motion capture-y feeling, but there's no motion capture.
Whoa!
That's someone with the mouse going.
Yeah, this is a good example of like the bare minimum. And you start to see this awesome pose, like how he's pushing with the elbow and the shoulder.
All of your favorite shows right here, right now. Let's get into it.
Amazing, insane. All right, tell me more.
Ninja Turtles.
Ninja Turtles, the new Ninja Turtles look so exciting because the teenagers sound like teenagers.
Yeah.
And they sound like teenagers oddly from like the 90s and right now. And I don't know how they're doing that, but it's awesome.
Murder the Strack!
Well, I mean, I think people's initial response, because they're not used to CG having like such a unique style, and I think people's initial response is just to go, it looks like Spider-Verse, because that's the only other thing they can think of that looks different.
Yeah.
It definitely has a looser feel. I think that in an intentional way. I don't think that's worse or better. I think it feels more like a teenager drawing in his notebook. It feels fun, it feels loose. The posing of the characters, they go off model sometimes, and that's okay.
Like you're saying, this is CG. How are they achieving that stylistic look in CG?
This is doing a lot of the things Spider-Verse and other things are doing as well. Like you can even see every time there's a light source, it's kind of like flickering back and forth.
It almost looks like they've gone in and actually drawn just like some scribbles over the light.
Yeah, but obviously the light is hitting the characters in a very correct way. There might be 3 versions of the lighting texture on the character, but it's built in. And then on top of that, they're having realistic lighting. And then on top of it, they have drawovers you see in the smoke, like that's 2D animated. And I think sometimes the animator is doing that, sometimes an effects artist is doing that.
It almost looks like some of these shots where it's like the hand-drawn scribbles are actually tracked into the 3D scene. Like you're actually seeing a little bit of perspective shift on those taillights.
100%.
Where like the scribble is actually, it's got a little bit of parallax, even though it's a single scribble that's not exactly animating frame to frame. It's animating every few frames.
Yeah, so that's a good call. So there's a couple ways you can do that. You can do that in comp.
Yeah.
You can also have it on a card and attach it and parent it and animate it in the scene. There's a lot of different solutions to the same problem, but it's definitely hand-drawn, and you can see that with the scribbles and the variation. I'm sure they had like at least some assets that they could plug in. You know, things like the sword moving here, drawing those lines, that's quick for someone just to do on top, and the animator might even do that on their play blast before it's rendered, just to make sure it's working, because doing lines like smear frames or multiples will slow down or speed up your animation. Spider-Verse uses chromatic abrasion and smears and lines and this, and I think Turtles is taking the same approach of what's best for the moment, what's best for the scene, how much of this is appropriate, and what does it make it feel like? And I think feel over everything else is the most important.
Visual effects allows us to achieve the impossible. Daring action sequences, creatures you've never seen before, worlds that could never exist. But one thing it can't do is give you a good night of sleep. That's something I've always struggled with. But luckily today's sponsor, Helix Sleep, has provided us with a new mattress that might solve all my problems. Helix Sleep offers premium mattresses customized to fit your needs, and they're conveniently shipped right to your door. Free shipping in the US. Everybody sleeps differently, and Helix knows that, so they made a sleep quiz that matches your unique body type and sleep preferences to the perfect mattress for you. So both my girlfriend and I are side sleepers, and we both enjoy, not too firm, not too soft, right in that Goldilocks zone. Based on our results, we were matched with the Helix Midnight Luxe mattress. I run pretty warm at night, so we decided to upgrade to the Glaciotex cooling cover, which is a great way to keep cool during those LA summer months. And you get a 100-night sleep trial to test the mattress out to ensure that you love it. Helix mattresses include a 10-year warranty, and they offer financing options and flexible payment plans. And this year, Helix launched their newest and most high-end collection yet, the Helix Elite mattress. The Helix Elite collection includes 6 different mattress models to combine high-end luxury with personalized comfort tailored to your preferences. I can feel the heat being sapped out of my body and I'm being lulled to sleep. But before I do, you guys can head to helixsleep.com/corridorcrew for 20% off your first order of a Helix mattress. And you also get these 2 free pillows. Also, keep an eye on the Helix website this month because they have some holiday sales popping up throughout November. So this is a great time to upgrade your sleep. Okay. You guys, I guess go back and watch React.
Okay, so this is a scene from Encanto. I brought it. The animator was Dave Harden, who's absolutely incredible. If you ask him, he'll say the opposite. Super humble. This scene specifically, to me, stood out watching the movie as just a really well done moment. Even though it's a very subtle and heartfelt moment, he's pushing shapes and timing as she gets, a little goofier as she's trying to cheer him up.
So you talk about the animation here kind of evolving over the course of the shot. What are some of the specific animations that you're seeing here for her character that stand out?
Yeah, I just love the choices being made. Also, they're under a bed and super contained, and there's only so much movement and things you can do.
Yeah.
But I think that also enhances the performance of her hands are opening, closing, but pretty much her general pose only changes once or twice. And then you see her face kind of die down, go really internal and think.
It's all subtle.
Yeah, it's really small. You can see the corners start to rise up a little bit as she's trying to kind of take herself out of it. I always see limitations given on animation because of convenience or time or effort or the annoyance of constraints and things like that. And when you're not afraid to touch a character or to, adjust your hair or whatever it is, it feels more real because people don't just stand there in one pose and be like, I can't cost money by moving my shirt, and that's a real thing. So I just think her performance is so real, and it's just really through the eyes and the drop of the corners of the mouth and stuff, and it's just super cool. Okay, so this is Encanto mini recap. There's lots of these recaps by this dude, and they're all amazing. He works with studios and different studios to help him accomplish it, but it's all driven from his kind of style and vision. He does them for Disney movies, Pixar movies, live action movies, everything.
Abuela!
It's not bad animation at all. It's actually absolutely fantastic. But I just mean it's different. We just watched one of the most detailed, specific, nuanced animations in even the whole of Encanto, and this is not that. But this is telling the story, and all the ideas and all of these things are so specific and so clear. He's not doing that much. He's committing to all the ideas, and that's the important thing.
What? I was not expecting the bloody ending.
What? Yeah, the Chainsaw Man ending.
I'm not going about voodoo.
His skill set, of course, is animation and the eye for what's needed. He's leaning 100% into the comedy because it's comedy. Whatever. It's genius.
Did not expect that. I feel like it's about communicating the jokes, right?
Yeah, it's a little bit like Ren and Stimpy.
Yeah.
Of course, it looks nothing like Ren and Stimpy, but it has the hyper detailed hands when it needs it. If it helps the joke, it leans into it.
Yeah.
And otherwise, it just is what it needs to be. You take for granted the idea that you can just draw the character, and he has a very specific style, and it fits everything. And to do that, and to come up with that, and to be consistent with that is really hard. And he does an awesome job at that. If we want to see some worse animation in Disney movies, let's check out some of my stuff. So this is from Strange World. Jaeger, even though he's much bigger and you would think he's gonna lug himself around.
He's athletic.
He's athletic, he's lived here for years and years and years. Searcher and the rest of the gang are new to the area. I wanted Searcher to feel like he was, at the very least, more concerned.
He's constantly breaking his eye line with the other character to check his hands and his feet as he climbs.
Exactly.
But going back to it.
So that was an important choice for me to kind of sell that nervousness. And he's looking at his feet, is that in? And you can see his knees wobble. It's not just I wanted things to feel loose.
No, just the pointless explorer stuff.
I filmed a bunch of reference which we can watch, but I climbed on a playground, and again, you get something to get the general body mechanics, and so that's me being Jaeger, and these will be too long, but I just broke into a apartment complex nearby. I was like, that fence is perfect. And this is me ignoring my kids at the playground to film reference. And so it was really just to get that feeling of like the weight of it, which I knew I could figure out, but I wanted some sort of a base. And so this is me trying to feel like the grip and the uncomfortability. Searcher is more flexible than me, but also he shouldn't feel like this is a normal thing. So.
I'm surprised at how detailed your performance actually is. It doesn't feel like you're just like kind of making it up. It feels like everything you're doing is actually very intentional and planned.
Yeah.
Totally.
Like,
so sometimes I'll thumbnail.
Place your foot forwards more and.
Yeah, so for this shot, the way I started it was I didn't have his leg going up. That was actually an awesome note from Michael Franceschi, who was my lead on the sequence. And again, it just pushed that original idea of like, I'm comfortable, I'm stable, I'm trying to catch up, I'm uncomfortable, even further. And then it also connected them. He was always grabbing him, but this way it felt like he was saving him a little bit too, but nonchalantly. So you're like, does he care about him? Does he not care about him? And it left a little bit more unknown.
This looks like it's from Love, Death, and Robots. Is this like the same studio?
Yeah, so this is also a film from Alberto Mialgo. I might be saying that completely wrong. I'm sorry. This is one that a lot of people haven't seen, even though I won the Oscar. I think he is more of an artist that likes to be in a cave and do things his way, and it's like, I have a very specific vision, and he is a very unique and specialized and extreme talent. Someone who knows what they want and just kind of needs that to flow out of them. It feels like something coming from live action, a really heavy live action shoot or a base, and a very planned out.
Yeah, it feels like this could be a filtered video.
Yeah, but what's weird.
Oh, that sim.
Satisfying.
All right.
What's interesting about his style is the acting is very motion capture-y feeling, but there's no motion capture.
Right, which is kind of how it felt in the other ones we've looked at before too.
It's the style he likes to go for. It would absolutely work in a full feature film, of course.
Back when we did our first Animators React episode, we brought up this concept of appeal. Yeah. And I understood everything else like appeal, as in like just make people like a cartoon. And it's like, yeah, draw a picture of a character that people want to look at. And like in a way, it's like it seems so basic, but at the same time, in a way, like unattainably specific. It's like, oh yeah, just make good art.
Yeah, it's exactly that, and I'm using it like that in the laziest way possible. But like it is, it's like, now of course you're gonna weigh what's important to you as a filmmaker. Is composition the most important? Like it's very prominent here? Maybe the importance of the character's appeal and where their face angle isn't as important as capturing the silhouettes on a very specific background in a very specific moment. A well-run pipeline to me is a director with a vision but flexible. We're empowering our creators to create their specific vision, and if this is your type of thing, we do it the best. And if you like this, we have one of those too. And we're not getting in the way of the people we trust and we hire. Primal, if you haven't seen it, is an awesome show. You can watch it on Max. I would just want to bring up these. These are from Gendy Tartakovsky. He did Powerpuff Girls, Samurai Jack.
Oh yeah, okay,
cool. A bunch of stuff. He has a vision in his head, and he has the artistic chops to kind of bring it to life through design and storyboards himself. The top is his storyboards of this clip. The bottom is the final picture. He didn't animate it himself. Studio La Cache, who did Kairos, and they did Star Wars Visions, the Dancer one in the latest season. Similarities between the boards and the final product are, it seems one-to-one. I mean, it just seems like the team is plussing what he gave them. This is another great scene. It's just very quick. There's Gendy's original boards of him slicing. There's kind of like a first pass, and you start to see this awesome pose, like how he's pushing with the elbow and the shoulder to drive all the, kind of like what we talked about with Trigun, like how that pose was kind of stiff. Everything drives, and if you see his initial boards, they don't have any of that. It's just he comes and he hits. And so if you were to tell AI or a computer to in between this, I think, not now, but in the future, if you drew enough keyframes and it studied turnarounds, and even if you did a first season of the show and it learned from that and it learned the main characters, you could potentially cut down on the amount of cleanup and color you're gonna need, and it would be more about fixing with like a really good supervisor team that you can spend money on.
Yeah.
But what you won't get is these choices of leading with the shoulder and the elbow and creating this like very graphic triangle pointing upwards before it drives to the camera, and pushing that forearm back, and Gendy's telling you what he needs, and it's great. And that gives the animators everything they need to know what the point of the shot is, and then they go, what if I eased out of this pose? What if I stayed on the bottom a little longer so it had that much more power when I pop up? And this idea of making specific artistic choices as your additive and what humans can do, to me, it will help you with the stuff that was an of course and allow you to spend more time polishing the only me. And true collaboration, I think, whether it's with a tool or a team or a person, is this game of telephone and this goal of the initial idea not being completely lost in utter crap being spewed the other side, and instead maintaining that idea and adding to it and ending up with something really cool and special at the end. And I think this is a clear depiction of how Gendy, an already extremely talented director with a vision and artist and animator, gives the freedom and chose an amazing studio like Studio La Cache to take what he had and make it that much more incredible, and arguably, definitely one of my favorite series ever made. This is everyone's favorite airplane animation, JJ the Jet Plane.
JJ
So I've been seeing JJ around lately, and so I thought it was a good example of excellent animation.
But is it like intentionally goofy?
No.
Watch me. Here I go!
I feel like they're animating it by like real time.
Yeah, like a Hot Wheels.
Yeah, like they have the mouse and like they click and drag for like the head to change, and they just record the motion. So it has that,
I
like,
love that
feel.
style of animation.
I would say that's the case, but it seems not smooth enough to be. This is a good example of like the bare minimum.
This is really creeping me out. What are we watching? Like, what is this? Is this for kids? Is this a kids show?
Yeah.
Is this an actual show, or is this just a...
Like this!
Whoa!
That's someone with the mouse going...
Yeah, it's gotta be something like that.
It's gotta be live mouse capture.
Yeah.
It's that or a puppet.
I've seen that inconsistent motion you get from using a mouse. It's a style in and of itself, and I feel like that's exactly what I'm looking at.
Look, I've lost my pointer enough times on the screen and wiggled my mouse until I see it to know that this is somebody wiggling their mouse.
Yeah. I mean, it's just weird. This is the first time I'm seeing any eyebrow movement.
This is a good example of appeal, right?
Yeah, failing. Yeah, I mean, this is like leaning too hard into your tool, and I think as soon as you start taking out the creativity or the director's vision or the artist's hand, you end up with more stuff like this and an abundance. I mean, I desperately need a show of you two and Sam as these characters, but
I'm very curious to see more like children's show animations and how janky they could be. So if you got some examples, I know some of you are parents out there, you've possibly seen some of your kids watching this stuff. Got any examples? Leave a comment down below. We'll check it out soon.
If people wanted to follow more of your work, where would be a good spot they could go?
always Instagram is a good place to go, even though I haven't been updating so much. Double Plus Productions, we should have more and more stuff coming up. We have a lot of exciting things we've already finished that just haven't been released yet, so we're excited to share those, and I'll probably come back and show some of that stuff off.
We've got a very cool episode coming out tomorrow on the Corridor Crew channel. Are you subscribed? You might miss it if you're not. I'm just saying. Thanks for watching. See you next week.